Welcome back to another episode of Not a Dollars, and my goodness, do we have a lot to catch up on. I've made significant changes to the team, completely changed how I build my team in general, and made some progress on the ultimate goal of this series in getting the supercharged Connor McDavid X Factor. On top of that, we got to discuss what I did with all of my cards, the things I went after for the XP path, and really everything that happened in my first 100 games of Rivals.
You are one pathetic loser.
First, we need to address something from episode 1, and that was if I should use the extra X Factor that I had before early access, and I agree with a lot of the comments that I should get rid of it and start kind of on the same level that everyone else did that was able to pre-order the deluxe edition of the game. So we got rid of the extra X Factor and we were all back square. Now again, updating you guys on what I did first. The X Factor moments is how I replaced Mario Ferraro with Mario Ferraro. I'd recommend when you first start the game to make sure you go through and do these moments. That doesn't take very long. And the reward is you get to pick another X Factor. So in my opinion, I would go with Nico Hischier. He's been phenomenal as a centerman, which gives you some lineup flexibility. After that, my second option is probably Cole Caulfield, who has been my most consistent goal scorer online. Just a very good card, which is nice because, again, it's really fun to use smaller players and not just have them get destroyed as the game goes along. Now, on top of that, I also did the hologram moments, netting me another vintage icon player choice pack, as well as the modern icon player choice pack. And there's a couple routes you can go here, but I would recommend making sure you get Rod Brind'Amour. He has been odds on my best card I've used all year round so far. And because of that, the vintage icon player choice pack, I decided to go with Paul Coffey because I needed another left-handed defenseman to go in the lineup. Now, to give an update on the ultimate goal, which is getting Connor McDavid, I'm 3 base X Factors away from getting my first captain. Now, the way that I'm handling doing this, because of the drastic reduction in rewards, is essentially I'm throwing everything that is 75 all the way up to 78 overall into the X Factor player choice sets. This includes 77 and above NHLers, 76 base icons, and everything in between. I wouldn't recommend this for the majority of the player base, but since it is the goal of this whole series to get that Connor McDavid, I kind of have to just hyper focus on one, and this is what I'd recommend regardless if you were going after a hologram icon or multiple captain cards. You kind of have to just hyper focus. Now, one of the most effective ways to get more cards that can go into that set is to use the exchange player sets. Now, I did an extensive video, the complete card value guide, if you want to go check that out. And I essentially went over every single overall of card and what is the best value and what to do with those types of cards. But it essentially breaks down to this. Anything that is untradeable below 74 overall, you want to just throw into these sets to continually get a higher overall until you get to the point where you can shoot your shot to get a 75 overall player item in this set. Anytime I got a 74 overall player item, I just threw it into this set to get a 76 or 77 overall player item, with the thought process of throwing it into the X Factor base set to get another base X Factor. Now, when it comes to which X Factor captain I'm going to chase first, I think I'm actually going to go with Miro Heiskanen, which is pretty surprising considering I'm always someone that preaches forwards are far more important than defensemen. But in NHL 25, as you've seen if you've played a lot of Rivals, one-timers from the point are just so dominant, and we're seeing a lot of players just force passes through because players have such low defensive awareness. Now, Miro Heiskanen gets two-way defenseman, up, which boosts it up to 90 overall, and he is pretty big at 6'2", 197. I'm not 100% sold on it, but it's either him or William Nylander simply because there's just a little bit more left-handed winger options available to you. So I'm not sure. I'll make the decision once I get there. These are the two I'm leaning for first. Now, checking in with the Season 1 XP path, currently I'm sitting at Tier 19. Now, obviously, I played an exceptional amount due to my subathon where I was live for 7 straight days, but it kind of goes in line with some of the more hardcore grinders, and I gotta be honest with you, with the massive reduction or just lack of rewards in general in the XP path, even people that are able to grind out and get to Tier 30 already, I gotta say, there's no real advantage because all you're getting is a few extra packs as well as some upgrade tokens that you can use on your XP player from the 80 overall choice pack. But again, the real advantage doesn't come until you start seeing more of the Jack Eichels, and we still haven't seen one because, well, it is essentially a month-long grind, and there will start to be players that have basically just done nothing but play this game and gotten to Jack Eichel. But even then, again, like I said, it'll be so few and far between that there isn't any real advantage to players just specifically playing the game to advance themselves in the XP path. So all I've been doing is just playing Rivals and playing the game the way that I've enjoyed. And I gotta say that is a massive positive, even though there is a stunning lack of rewards in the XP path. Now, when it comes to objectives at the current time, I was able to finish a lot of the Power Up Icon and X Factor team objectives with only scoring goals remaining. And again, I haven't grinded in squad battles for any of this. I'm just going to simply play it out and I'll get it when I get it. But it has been really nice to get a ton of coins from these objective paths, including the weekly competitive, which does give a bunch of tradable rewards. They aren't great, but it should help the market a little bit, as well as 30,000 coins in this objective path. So if they keep using that format for the weekly competitive objectives, at least, you will get a decent amount of coins along with some packs that you can then just go ahead and trade right away. The other thing I want to point out, it was confirmed by EA that the week objectives, so week 1 XP season, these are going to stay the entire season, meaning that if you miss out on a week or two, you can come back, complete all of these, and you will get 45,000 XP towards the XP path, which is another reason as to why you shouldn't just go out and grind squad battles incessantly just to try and get the XP path done. You can do it on your own time. This is a pretty big win as well when it comes to the objective paths for XP, but I gotta say, I really enjoyed the fact that they are just going to leave all of them. So essentially, you could wait until, week 6, not play the game at all, finish off all 6 of these weeks and get halfway to the XP path being completed. So that is pretty solid. Now, we also got our first season for Wildcard post early access. And I gotta say, this one was a far different experience. There is clearly skill-based matchmaking in Wildcard, and the experience ended up being the sweatiest games I have ever played, which is disappointing because it is a mode that is supposed to be a little bit less serious than Rivals and Hut Champs. Now, me being ass aside, something that I would have loved to see for wildcard matchmaking would have been something along the lines of Hut Champs, where you match up with players that have roughly the same record as you or the amount of wins in a row, which would mimic something like what MLB does for their BR mode. I kid you not, I was matching players that competed in the GWC. Every single game was essentially against a player I recognized, and while I think that it does help the player base that is not as proficient to the online gameplay, I just think that you could separate it a little bit more effectively, like I said, by doing maybe win streaks or things like that, because this was rough. Can't stress how excited I am to be done this. I'm thrilled that we have yet another skill-based matchmaking mode. Oh my god, get me out of this. I need to take a look at how that went. Let's take a peek. How did that go? Dude, 10 and 19. Like, what in the world did I just go through? Oh my god, bro. Now, when it comes to all of the packs that I got from completing the wildcard path, again, nothing special. This is going to be a major issue for the majority of the season. It has improved a little bit since the objective paths have started to come out, but you really don't pull anything of value at all in any of these packs until finally the end, where I got my 82 overall choice pack from the Cover Athlete event. I also unlocked the account bound pack as well, which netted me Claude Giroux, which is actually a pretty usable card. And my wild card reward was Chris Pronger, who is, again, another usable card that I'm pretty happy I landed. Now let's take a look at where the lineup stands, starting with Cole Caulfield, Rod Brindamore, and base Connor McDavid, that I was able to buy off the auction house before early access ended for about 120,000 coins. His price did explode, decided to pull the trigger right before worldwide launch happened, and obviously pretty stoked that I was able to get base Connor McDavid. In my opinion, he is the best left-handed player in the game. He is the only one that feels just different when you have the puck with him for us free-to-play players. On the second line, we've got the Cover Athlete Jack Hughes with Nico Hischier. Like I mentioned, he is the best base X-Factor Factor, in my opinion. Just a very good card early on. And Wyatt Johnston's wild card has been extremely consistent as well. My third line is Trevor Linden, who's actually been pretty effective. I've been able to score them quite a bit, considering my third line just doesn't see the ice very often. He is very big, so he doesn't get knocked off the puck at all. He's centered by Joe Sakic. If you were able to get that free pack featuring the 83 overall cover athletes, Joe Sakic was the easy pick, and by far one of the best players that we've gotten so far, especially for free. And then Elias Pettersson. If you've been following my channel for quite some time, you know that I'm not the biggest Elias Pettersson card fan because he gets knocked off the puck so easy. However, again, on the third line, he does have a decent shot. Fourth line is Dale Howardchuk, the hat trick, Logan Couture, and then Claude Giroux, who I was able to get BND. On defense, which matters quite a bit, considering that DDD one-timers are so prevalent. We've got Cale Makar's cover athlete card, who is still the best one. And if there was a must-make among the bunch from that first event, it is Cale Makar. And Caden Gooley's wild card has been probably one of the best early game cards in the game. I've got Chris Pronger, like I mentioned earlier, who has been extremely fast, considering that his speed is so low, with Mackenzie Weegar, and then Seth Jones and Mario Ferraro. Seth Jones has been quite good as well. One of my best players when it comes to the offensive side of things, just because, well, DDD one-timers are just going so much. In net, I tried a bunch of different options, but this Sebastian Casa has been by far my favorite. You see that over 80% save percentage, 23 and 12 in Division 2. It is a set it and forget it card for me for a little while. Again, it really doesn't matter when it comes to goaltenders. However, speed is the most important attribute when it comes to goalies, and considering he's 6'6" with 86 speed, I think that might be why he's so impactful. Now, you might have noticed that I've got close to 450,000 coins, and what have I been doing with those coins, or what do I plan to do? Well, if you haven't been following the streams, I have been trying out the more expensive cards that are obtainable via events. So, early on, I wanted to try out the new Master Set Eric Lindros because I thought with how big he was and how hard it is to knock people off the puck that he might be in a really effective card. And I'm not going to lie, I really didn't find much success with him. And especially for the cost, I didn't think that it was going to be worth trying to keep him. So I bought him for about 250,000 coins and then immediately sold him back after about 10 games when he just wasn't effective for me. Same thing goes for Austin Matthews. Now, Austin Matthews' card was a much better performer, especially offensively, but it really wasn't anything crazy like Connor McDavid's base card, for example. And when you consider that Matthews' base card goes for a fraction of the price to his Master Set player, same kind of situation. I tried him out at center and on the wing, wasn't super impressed, so I just sold him back. And that is what I've been continuing to do over the course of launch, is just trying out cards that I normally wouldn't because I have an excessive amount of coins and seeing who I would enjoy more by actually using the cards. Now, on the next episode, we'll go over what I did with the Game Breakers content, as well as what I plan to do with the Team of the Week changes. Be sure to subscribe, notifications on, so you don't miss the next episode. I'll see you guys next time. This is a absolute dot. Like, he's just shoveling this in. Ah, nah.